Today, we're going to talk about something that we all deal with, but let's be honest, we rarely talk about in a way that's actually helpful. And that is failure. We're going to break down how you can actually transform your setbacks into the very fuel for your success. So, does this sound familiar? You're so focused on not messing up, right? You're gripping the steering wheel of your project or your life so tightly that you end up driving right into the guardrail. You're telling yourself, don't fall, and suddenly the only thing you can think about is the floor. Well, that kind of self-sabotage, it's a classic symptom of a much, much bigger problem. And here it is. This is the problem summed up perfectly. We chase perfection, thinking it's this ultimate prize, this shining goal. But as our source material says so well, it's not a goal at all. It's a trap. A really well-lit, really inviting trap that just eats up all our energy for almost no reward. So let's really dive into this trap. This intense fear of failing, this need to be perfect, it's what often makes failure pretty much inevitable. It's this vicious cycle, and it's rooted deep down in our need for approval. Understanding the psychology behind it is really the first step to breaking free. Just look at the psychology here. We're not chasing perfection because we're arrogant. We're doing it because we're scared. We think, hey, if I can just do this one thing flawlessly, then nobody can judge me. Nobody can confirm that secret fear I have that maybe I'm not good enough. It's a defense mechanism, sure, but it's one that keeps us sprinting on a treadmill that's going absolutely nowhere. So this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole explainer. We need a radical reframe. What if failure wasn't a verdict on who you are or what you're capable of? What if it was just information, just data? Let's dig into what that actually means. I just love this definition. It's so honest. It gets that, yeah, failure hurts. It definitely comes with a bruise, but it completely changes its purpose. See, it's not a stop sign. It's more like a diagnostic report. Every time you miss, the floor is telling you something the ceiling never could, where your balance was off, where the weak spots are. And you can really see that mental shift right here. The old way of thinking leads straight to guilt. I'm the problem. And what does that do? It just shuts you down. The new mindset, though, treats it as data. Okay, this specific approach didn't work. Can you feel the difference? One is a dead end. The other is a signpost pointing you to the very next door. So how do we actually make that shift from guilt to data? Well, it all starts inside. It starts by giving ourselves something the perfectionist in us never ever will. Permission. Permission to just be a work in progress, not some finished, flawless product. Think about it, right? Shame and guilt about our failures, they create inertia. They literally freeze us in place. But giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to try and miss, that is what creates momentum. It's the engine of resilience. Let's really let this one sink in for a second. Self-forgiveness isn't about being soft on yourself. It's actually this powerful act of rebellion. It's you deciding that your worth as a human being is not tied to your last outcome. Your performance is what you do. Your identity is who you are. And separating those two things, that is the absolute key to being able to get back up after you fall. Okay, so that's the mindset shift. But how do we actually put it into practice? Let's get into the toolkit. These are some simple, totally actionable strategies from our source that you can start using. These are quick little mindset shifts you can use every single day. First, redefine your goal. The win isn't a perfect outcome. The win is giving it your all. Next, do one small brave thing you might actually mess up. And yeah, this last one might sound weird, but if you have to, literally, schedule time to let yourself off the hook. This is such a fantastic tool for managing your own expectations. Instead of one single high-pressure target, you create a range. Let's say you're rating a report. Your floor might be just finishing the first draft, even if it's super rough. That's your minimum win. Your ceiling, that's the polished final version. Now, anything in between is progress, and this keeps you from using a good but not perfect result as a weapon against yourself. After a setback, resist that urge to just spiral and beat yourself up. Instead, run this super simple 3-step debrief. This isn't a trial, it's a data gathering mission. First, what worked? Cool, keep that. Second, what didn't? Okay, we'll tweak that. And third, what now? This immediately focuses you on the next step forward, and it turns all that reflection into action. Now, this one sounds a little silly, but it is surprisingly powerful. That critical inner voice, the perfectionist cop in your head, Give it a goofy name. The source calls his the auditorium custodian, who's always trying to shush him and sweep him off the stage. When you can externalize that voice and even kind of mock it, it loses its power. You can just acknowledge it and say, oh, there's the custodian again, and then get on with your work. Okay, let's bring all this home. We've dismantled that perfectionism trap, and we've built a toolkit for resilience. And all of this leads to a new goal, one that isn't about avoiding failure, but something way more attainable and, honestly, way more productive. This is the mantra. This is the entire process in one sentence. You aim as best you can. You accept that the landing won't be flawless. You analyze the results with kindness and curiosity, not judgment. And then, most importantly, you go again. That's the loop of real, sustainable growth. And this is just the perfect metaphor for it all, isn't it? Stop swinging for the fences every single time. That kind of pressure just leads to more strikeouts. Instead, just focus on making contact. Just get the bat on the ball. Consistent contact wins a lot more games than the occasional high-pressure home run. It's about staying in the game one swing at a time. We'll end on this really powerful thought. What are you choosing? A life of beautiful, messy, informative attempts that actually help you grow? Or a life of polished avoidance, staying in that safe zone where nothing ever goes wrong, but nothing really happens either? An attempt builds a life. Avoidance builds a cage. The choice is yours.